Well, hello there. Just as I hit play, record. U.S. Piper with you. Brought some rain. I'm using my Rossi Rubino some more. 320. Really nice pipe for not a lot of money. Really nice smoke for not a whole lot of money. Stonehenge Flake from GLP's. A collaboration between him and John Gawith from Gawith and Hogarth. It's basically a very nice vapor. Technically a vapor. There's a touch of burley in it, and it is just a touch. But a really nice, easy to get to know vapor. If you haven't gotten into those much, it's an easy one to get to know, I feel like. It's got more fruit than spice from the Perique. It's not super heavy in it. Nice Virginia profiles. The little touch of burley adds nice little hints of like a earthy nuttiness to it. Fills it out a little bit. At times you'll get a little hint of like a cocoa. If you search it out, it'll just kind of, damn, did I get a hint of cocoa? It's not a lot. It's not like overly chocolatey, just a natural hints of it. You ever like rip open the top of a Swiss Miss pack and you get that little bit of, you just inhale a little bit. You don't inhale the dust, but you can just smell a little bit of it for a second, and then you don't. That may be a bad example because I'm not even sure that's real cocoa in that. But I feel like everybody knows what that means. That dry, not particularly sweet, earthy cocoa. Not that that's a high quality representation of cocoa, but because my wife's a heck of a baker, so I've been exposed to the entire world of premium chocolates and cocos, so it's okay. I was fat before I married her. It hasn't made getting smaller easier, but I am quality control. Getting towards the end of this 10. This is some August 26th of 2019 production. I've heard it's really good with age. I'm not really good at letting it get any. I've actually got another 10 of this on the way, thankfully, because I'm right at the bottom. Probably got a few bowls left. Kind of a semi-broken flake. Like, you might find some flakes, some of it's broken. I don't know. I've had this a while, so I can't remember how much of it I broke and how much of it was broken flake, but it's a good smoke. Good smoke. There might be a little hint of some Lakeland in the Virginias, but it's not much. If you didn't know what that was and somebody didn't suggest it to you, you could definitely miss it. I feel like there's reviews where people gripe about it like it's drenched in it. I don't really feel like that's accurate at all. I feel like there's just hints of it bracing the Virginias a little bit in a really good way, not in a heavy-handed way, and it's nice. Just the whole thing is nice. It's a comforting, soothing, laid-back kind of smoke for me. It burns well once you get it going. It's not hard. I tend to rub it out, but I'll leave a few little strands here and there. It's a little bit harder to oversmoke than a straight vapor because There's not a lot of burley in there, but there's just really enough to complement the flavor profiles in it. But because there's that little touch of it in there, it does seem like it burns a little better. It has a little more body. I really feel like it's there for what it does for the flavor profile. But it does fill out the smoke a little bit. Or body, mouthfeel. But not so much that it seems like you're smoking a bunch of burley. And I'm towards the bottom of this ginormous KS bowl, so I'm going to go ahead and throw a pipe cleaner down there. I think I slightly overpacked it at some point. There's just a little bit of a gurgle going on there, so maybe that got her. Just a really good one to sit back and just sip on. If you get to over smoking it just a little bit, it's not going to hurt anything. A lot of the straight vapors can be more finicky if you over smoke them. They let you know by becoming more harsh or very negatively and sharply influencing the flavor. I feel like this one's a little more forgiving of that. That could just be me. There's birds again, so I guess it's moved out for a few minutes again. They love to come out and play in between showers. And we had some thunder and lightning going on earlier, but it didn't last long. It tends to move pretty quickly over us where we are. It's kind of the sweet spot. If you're to the north or the south of us a whole lot, or very much, that tends to be where things roll over. There's this little sweet spot where it comes across the river, Tennessee River, and generally most of it's going to roll south or north of us, so it's a good spot to be in. Every once in a while, just to keep you on your toes, it will roll right over you, but it's usually a smaller offshoot of what's really going on storm-wise. As long as nobody screws up by putting a trailer park in, we should be safe. But anyway, I'm going to try to keep this one short because I've been doing a horrible job of that lately. But it is a really nice smoke. Nice slow sipper. It's an easy one to smoke. Not very finicky. Burns well, stays lit well. If you overpack it a little bit or you over tamp it, you might have to do a couple of relights, but usually it's pretty good. When you first pop the top, you may want to give it a little tray time at the beginning of the 10, but I've never taken this out of the 10. And I've had this one since a little before Christmas. And it's not particularly crispy. It's just about perfect now. So it doesn't need tray time at this point. But it's gone from, could use 15-20 minutes of tray time to about perfect. So I feel like these 10s do pretty good. If you're going to keep it much more than a month, you probably ought to jar it. But I had a feeling this one wasn't going to last a month. And the only reason that it has is because I've been trying so many new tobaccos lately. This is a good one. I feel like this, if you haven't smoked many vapors, or technically it's a vapor because there is a touch of burley in it. This was like a limited run. I think they did a run in 2011. Everybody hyped it and talked it up. A lot of people cellared it and were so happy with how it aged on the forums and stuff. And there was so much interest in hunting it down that they thankfully brought it back, which I'm glad they did. It's a really good smoke. If I hadn't mentioned it, it was that collaboration with John Gawith of Gawith and Hogarth. And Greg Pease, of course. I think that Gawith came out with a similar flake that is kind of like, it's been said it's similar to this without the burley. And I can't remember what that's called. But it's never been confirmed, but it's been theorized that it's very similar. But for the money and availability, there's not much Lakeland in this, but I do believe there is a little touch of it in the Virginias. So if you're in the mood for something like that, and it's often hard to find any of the Samuel or any of the Gawith stuff, whether it be John or Samuel, the brothers. Which are under the same house again now anyway. They're still their own lines, but I think company-wise, they kind of merged back in 2015, I think. So Samuel Gawith still has their own line. They use a lot of the old machinery and the old original stuff. And I think his brother was a little bit more modern-minded and more volume-oriented, seemingly. But, they may just not have gotten along really well. I don't know what the deal was, but for monetary reasons, I'm assuming Gawith had a really big facility, so Samuel Gawith actually moved back in when they merged to that facility, so it's all under one roof. It's kind of like C&D. You have GLPs and you have C&D, and you have Captain Earls, but they're all very much their own product lines. Even if they're under one house and one distribution. I haven't had much of the John Gawith stuff, but I've got a pretty fair trial batch of some of Samuel Gawith stuff, and I've really gotten to like several of them. It's hard to consistently find, and I don't know that any of them would be my daily smoke outside of maybe Skiff Mixture. I've come to really enjoy Skiff Mixture quite a bit. But this little collaboration with John and Greg is fantastic. So I'm going to cut this short. But for $12, go ahead and give it a try. If it's something that sounds like you might be interested, I think you'll enjoy it. It's a nice, slow, contemplative smoke. Very comforting. It's not finicky. And you don't have to be any master of doing fancy arrangements with it. You can just rub it out and put it in your pipe and it'll burn fine. I don't think it smokes particularly hot, as some vapors do. I guess maybe that little touch of burley might help it burn a little more evenly, I would imagine. Who knows? But for whatever reason, it tends to smoke really well and easy. And like I said, it tends to be pretty forgiving of over smoking it a little bit. So if you're like me and you tend to do that sometimes, you're not as sharply corrected as you are with some vapors. It's just nice. It's a nice, enjoyable, contemplative smoke. A little hint of spiciness maybe on the retrohale, but it's more subdued fruitiness than anything else from the Perique, I feel like, in this. You got the earthy, woody, nutty cocoa thing going on from the touch of burley. The Virginias are nice. There's a little bit of sweetness coming from them too. And I feel like they overlap well enough in this, along with whatever that little bit of a essence is in the Virginia, that nothing really stands out sharply. It just they're all folded in together into a nice overall flavor. Like you can pick out little parts of it, and certain things like the nuttiness, or cocoa hints might ebb and flow a bit. But overall, start to finish, you have a really nice and enjoyable, consistent smoke out of it. I think you'll enjoy it. Anyway, this is the U.S. Piper, John Boy, saying I hope you all have a blessed day. It's hump day. You all have made it halfway through another one. Congratulations. The weekend is only 2 days away. And by the time this is uploaded, it's probably already lunchtime. Peace out, the U.S. Piper.